Welcome back to Joey Movie Clips. Today I will show you the largest Chinese language crime film in 2024, titled The Pig, the Snake, and the Pigeon. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A man walked into a police station to surrender, only to find that he ranked just third in the wanted list. Enraged and humiliated, he found himself yearning to eradicate the top two names on the list so that even if he surrendered, he would do so as the most wanted. Known to the world as GuilinChen, or just Guilin, he was a formidable character unafraid to blow up an entire casino with a grenade. 4 years ago, he collected debts for his boss nicknamed Zhou Chu. During a dispute between Zhou Chu and a gang leader called Hong Yi, Guilin put the latter to rest fearlessly. Outraged, Hong Ye's confidant, Tai Tu Gu, issued a kill order against Guilin. Guilin never tolerated anyone hunting him down because his approach has always been to strike first. When Tai Tu Gu showed up at Hong Ye's funeral, Guilin calmly pulled out his gun and eliminated him amidst the crowd. After the deed, he calmly walked away. Nearby police who were on stakeout immediately sprang into action. At the sight of Detective Captain Chen Hui, Guilin broke into a cocky and captivating smile. Chen Hui immediately gave chase. Both engaged in a fierce chase and battled life and death upon encounter. In the fray, Chen Hui's "I was injured" and GuilinChen managed to escape. GuilinChen is extremely unconventional and prefers the grand show and fame without differentiating good from evil. Following this incident, he made his way onto the wanted list. He had to lay low temporarily to not worry his grandmother. 4 years later, his grandmother passed away due to worsening cancer. Regret engulfed Guilin, as his only kin was gone and he had spent most of his time outside, seldom accompanying her, all to gain fame. The underworld doctor who treated his grandmother, Zhang Guilinchen, handed him a bag full of money and a kid's watch with a pig design. These were his grandmother's final keepsakes. With his grandmother's passing, GuilinChen had no fears of worrying her by appearing on the news. He wanted to pull off a major job and assert his name in the underworld. Zhang Guilinchen showed him an X-ray. The diagnosis was late-stage lung cancer, incurable, and even a lung transplant wouldn't do much. He had about 3 to 6 months left. Initially, GuilinChen refused to believe it. He assumed that his severe cough was due to heavy smoking. How could it be late-stage lung cancer? But seeing the sincerity in Zhang Guilichen's eyes, he couldn't help but accept the reality. Zhang Guilichen pointed out that late-stage lung cancer would be extremely painful. Rather than dying like a rat in the shadows, it would be better to turn himself in, and at least continue with a sense of dignity. GuilinChen was aware that surrendering would lead him to a sure death, but if he didn't, he would slip away unnoticed. He sought the Buddha's oracle, trying to find whether he should turn himself in or not. In his mind, he would surrender if he drew the chalice symbol, yet he drew 9 times consecutive half-dark half-light chalices. Reluctantly, Guilin decided to turn himself in. Presuming his notoriety stretched far and wide, he expected the police to treat him as a big fish. But to his surprise, the station was crowded because an armored truck carrying cash had recently tipped over, and honest citizens were in line to return the money they'd found. Dissatisfied, Guilin had to step aside. Discovering his name to be only the third on the wanted list was somewhat a blow to his ego. After some considerations, he decided to eradicate the 2 names before his on the list, Hong Kong Kid and Lin Luhe, emulating Zhou Chu, the ancient hero known for killing 3 beasts to safeguard his homeland. He resolved to eliminate notorious figures before his death, thus leaving behind a legendary reputation. With even the police unable to track down the 2 criminals ranked higher than him on the list, GuilinChen had to resort to the underworld doctor, Zhang Guilinchen. Over the years, she had served many gang lords and gathered a wealth of first-hand information. She had treated Hong Kong Kid for gunshot wounds. Because a bullet was still lodged in his head, he frequently suffered from headaches. A woman named Xiao Mei would periodically come to fetch pain relievers for him. As for Lin Luhe, he had disappeared a long time ago, but she had an unopened letter from his mother. GuilinChen tracked Xiao Mei to a salon in Taichung. He rented a room opposite the salon to closely monitor the activities inside. Soon, a group of men walked into the salon. The leader was Hong Kong Kid, who secretly dealt in drugs. Upon return, he instructed Xiao Mei to clean a dagger which had bits of human flesh stuck on it, which sent chills down her spine. As Xiao Mei cleaned up, Hong Kong Kid suddenly slapped her bottom and started to chuckle. His henchmen laughed along until they sensed their boss's murderous gaze. The cronies held back their laughter immediately, and chills ran down their spine. Terrified, one of the lackeys was trembling. Hong Kong Kid brought down a beer bottle on his head, smashing it 7 times. Blood dribbled down his forehead. Still seething, Hong Kong Kid reached for an ashtray, but Xiao Mei stepped in, saving the lackey from further harm. Back in his room, GuilinChen witnessed Hong Kong Kid forcefully assaulting Xiao Mei. The scene seared into his consciousness. The next day, when he visited Xiao Mei's salon for a shave, he was mainly probing for information. As soon as he was done and prepared to leave, he was held back in the chair by Hong Kong Kid, the razor gliding terrifyingly close to his neck. It was the first time that GuilinChen felt death so near. It was also the first time that he experienced the horror of life-threatening anger. Hong Kong Kid had noticed Guilin's peeping and assumed that Guilin was targeting Xiao Mei.
你唔係嚟揾小美喎，你係個邊個啊？
Fortunately, the sudden arrival of traffic police kept GuilinChen out of immediate danger. If Hong Kong Kid had moved, it would have resulted in mutual destruction. Upon returning to his room, GuilinChen found it ransacked. What annoyed him most was that the suit his mentor had gifted him had been turned into a rag by Hong Kong Kid's men. He couldn't wait any longer and made his move that very night. Hearing noises, Hong Kong Kid grew alert. When GuilinChen charged into the room, a fierce fight ensued. Realizing he was outmatched, Hong Kong Kid took to his heels. GuilinChen gave chase relentlessly, and policeman Chen Hui joined the pursuit. Chen Hui had previously received a tip from Zhang Guilinchen and had been staking out near Xiao Mei's salon. GuilinChen had no choice but to dispatch Chen Hui first before he could pursue Hong Kong Kid. After a hard chase, they ended up in a vegetable greenhouse where Hong Kong Kid impaled Guilin with a long nail into his thigh. GuilinChen counterattacked, knocking out Hong Kong Kid with a shovel, and then took out his gun, ready to take his shot. "Give me a reason," Hong Kong Kid demanded, unwilling to accept his impending fate. Guilin pointed to his scarred eyebrow, a memento from his battle with Hong Kong Kid that he was ready to return. By killing Hong Kong Kid, he rid himself of his rage too. He didn't leave immediately, but instead went to rescue Xiao Mei. He took down 2 of Hong Kong Kid's accomplices to grant Xiao Mei her freedom. By the sea, GuilinChen told her, "If the police approach you, tell them that I killed Hong Kong Kid. I want everyone to know that I'm the one who killed him." When she asked why, Guilin didn't answer. Xiao Mei then spoke about her past, revealing that Hong Kong Kid was her stepfather and that her mother was currently serving time in prison for a crime committed by him. She owed him her life, as he rescued her from another man, and she felt obligated to marry him in return. Xiao Mei had the impression that GuilinChen saved her for his advantage. When she asked where they were going, he responded, "You're free now." Without giving an answer to when they might meet again, he disappeared like a lone wolf into the horizon. Soon, GuilinChen's rescue operation made the headlines, but he didn't revel in triumphant delight. Only when he confirmed Xiao Mei's successful rescue did he let a smile cross his face. He had saved Xiao Mei and, in the process, managed to save himself. After eliminating Taichung's ferocious tiger, Hong Kong Kid, GuilinChen visited a welfare institution with the letter from Zhang Guilinchen to collect the ashes of Lin Lua's mother, Yang Shuzhen, who had passed away 3 years prior without a trace of Lin. Among Yang's belongings was a religious book inscribed with a passage, "A single misstep leads to lasting regret. Returning back, you are already a 1,000-year-old spirit. Greed, anger, and delusion lurk. In the next life, be a new person." There was an address at the bottom which led Guilin to a spiritual center in the forests of Penghu. The green, refreshing atmosphere of the center immediately offered tranquility. Upon arrival, Guilin was served a vegetarian meal and afterwards, taken to the main hall of the New Heart residence. A chillingly smiling figure dominated a portrait on the hall's front wall. A venerable figure, the revered leader of the New Heart, sat on a stage wearing an immaculate white robe, speaking with deliberation and an enlightened gaze. He proclaimed a doctrine encouraging the renunciation of worldly possessions and cutting off greed, anger, and delusion to transfigure into a new person.
一昧地追求世俗的向往，那是愚昧的事情。
Following his preaching, a sister strummed her guitar and sang the hymn, "The New Created." A tune pure and compelling, carrying the power to cleanse souls. Amid the holy hymn, a strange scene unfolded. The Reverend, who preached the renunciation of worldly possessions, descended from the stage, accepting gifts bestowed by his followers. Suddenly, GuilinChen felt his stomach churn and vomit a black fluid. He was rushed to the hospital, and upon regaining consciousness, he was visited by the Reverend. The venerable figure explained that the blackened vomit was a result of impurities within him, but assured him everything would be all right. Once the Reverend had left, Gillen vomited more of the black fluid. He thought his end was near. The following day, GuilinChen attended the revered leader's morning class. The session felt tailored exclusively for him. The senior sister began recounting her own miraculous story. She once was diagnosed with late-stage cervical cancer, but after being enlightened by the revered leader, she made a miraculous recovery without any medical intervention. Now, she saw his blessing for a child. Her words were full of inconsistencies, but they stirred up GuilinChen's desire. He clung to his earthly existence and didn't want to succumb to death just yet. Thus, he entertained a faint hope. Perhaps this revered leader had the power to save his life? The leader presented him with a book titled New Heart Society. GuilinChen explained his purpose for visiting, that he sought Lin Luha. The leader led him to a backyard, featuring a blank stele. He informed GuilinChen that Lin Luha had passed away quite a while ago. He had been Lin Luha's doctor and stated that Lin, on his deathbed, had perceived the truth of the universe, understood the cause and effect of everything in the world, and had imparted all these to him. He asked him to open a new spiritual retreat here, to preach and teach, offering beings a direction for salvation. His words were once again riddled with inconsistencies, but upon hearing that the revered leader could potentially cure him, GuilinChen decided to suspend his doubts. The fear of death led GuilinChen to lose his basic discernment. He underwent a ceremonial baptism, donning white clothes and kneeling before the revered leader. The leader, along with a group of followers, holding rulers, surrounded Gillen.
我是罪人，
我是
我危害人间，我辜负苍生，
The leader then proceeded to cut his hair.
我愿抛开一切，消除名利权利，
少数民族权利，
舍弃金钱物质，
舍弃金钱物质，
归于真我。
归于真我。
After the ceremony, GuilinChen prostrated in genuine repentance. He believed that he had a profound awakening. A few days later, the leader took GuilinChen to get checked. The doctor pointed at the X-ray. This doesn't look like late-stage cancer, and part of your tumor has started to calcify. The cancer cells are dying out on their own. GuilinChen, incredulous, snatched the X-ray film to inspect it but couldn't interpret it. The doctor told him that this didn't mean he could recover. They needed to observe for a longer period. However, this phenomenon was miraculous. Overjoyed, GuilinChen trusted the leader's powers without a doubt. He considered his lingering attachment to worldly possessions as the reason for his incomplete recovery. Therefore, he packed his gun in a backpack and buried it in the ground. Taking all his money and valuables, he went to find the leader. The leader prepared a wooden box for him, instructing him to put all his funds amounting to $1 million Taiwanese into it, including the piglet watch that his granny had given him. Biting his lip, GuilinChen slid the wooden box into the furnace, marking an end to his attachment to worldly possessions. The next day, a young boy visited New Heart Society. GuilinChen served him the vegetarian meal. After the meal, the boy and his mother attended the class. Halfway through, the boy also started vomiting black liquid. The revered leader rushed to provide assistance, but GuilinChen swooped in and immediately rushed the child to the hospital. In the ward, the boy remained unconscious, and a few followers debated whether the dosage of some medication was too high.
刚才尊者治疗的时候，你在乱什么？这小孩要是出事，你就负全责。回去。
GuilinChen felt something wasn't right and began secretly observing. He saw the doctor walk into the clinic with the same X-ray he was shown. The doctor announced that the boy had a lung infection, with fluid in his lungs and pneumothorax, indicating a very grim situation. The boy's mother was distraught and knelt down begging for the revered leader's help. Witnessing this scene, GuilinChen was dumbstruck. He snuck into the leader's room and saw the ashes of Lin Lua's mother on the table. He discovered a secret passage that led him to a lavishly decorated and tastefully arranged room, contrasting sharply with the austere room upstairs. Suddenly, a wooden box rolled down a slide. On opening, GuilinChen found a woman's purse filled with the boy's mother's possessions. As it turned out, the boxes were not incinerated after all. Instead, they made their way here via the slide. The entire setup was an illusion. The belongings that the revered leader had asked his followers to renounce had swiftly found their way into his own pockets. After searching for a while, GuilinChen finally found his wooden box. The money was gone, leaving behind the worthless piglet watch. Shortly after GuilinChen left, the revered leader administered an injection to the boy. He instructed the doctor, "I don't want him to die, but I don't want him to recover either. I want him to stay like this forever." The next day, as the revered leader was administering a baptism to the boy's mother, GuilinChen barged in, revealing the truth. and directed the boy's mother to leave. However, he was quickly restrained by the followers. The revered leader compelled the boy's mother to kill GuilinChen to vanquish evil influences. She fell dead on the spot. The hot, fresh blood sprayed on the revered leader's face, but he was unfazed. One of the followers grabbed a dagger and plunged it into GuilinChen's lower abdomen. The revered leader uttered haunting words, full of karmic obstacles, harming the world, taken together to send to hell. GuilinChen was forced into a coffin, the lid nailed shut. All present watched the surreal and brutal scene unfold expressionlessly. It appeared as if this was just the natural order of things. Guilin was taken away to be buried alive. The leader, his face covered in blood, resumed his gentle smile. The ethereal choir resumed, mixing with the smell of blood in the air, giving off a strange scent. At night, GuilinChen kicked open the coffin lid and clawed his way out of the ground. He returned to New Heart Shelter, unveiled Lin Lua's grave to find it empty, with only a photograph and a lock of hair. GuilinChen broke out in a derisive laugh. It was clear that the so-called revered leader was none other than Lin Luha. To think that he, a formidable outlaw, had been brainwashed, not only relinquishing all his possessions, but also nearly losing his life. All this was due to his obsession with life. But the one who was even more greedy than him was Lin Luha, who was now enjoying life in his underground palace. His woman, or the eldest sister, was already pregnant. The revered leader was indeed powerful, having bestowed a child upon the elder sister. The moment to witness a miracle was near. This was Lin Luha. He could not forsake anything and wanted everything, yet he advised others to give up everything. Beneath his righteous appearance hid a heart full of greed, lust, and insatiable desire. GuilinChen prepared to get rid of this greedy sea serpent of Peng Hu. He dug out his gun and walked into the church, firing a shot at Lin Luha. However, the gun was damp, causing the bullet to jam. Lin Luha remained calm, slowly approaching him. Accompanied by all the followers, Lin Luha turned around, staring unblinkingly at GuilinChen. Finding the situation puzzling, GuilinChen was prepared for his judgment. Lin Luha, nicknamed Bullhead, was implicated in over 50 shootings, having killed 6 police officers. He spoke slowly with a twitch at the corner of his mouth. A natural disaster, an earthquake, and countless innocent people die. Have you ever blamed the heavens or the earth? What's the big deal if we kill a few more people?
死到临头还嘴硬呢，你果然该死。
GuilinChen was taken aback. Lin Luha was so greedy that he wanted to control everything, equating himself with the universe. How can such a person be changed? Perhaps only through death. GuilinChen added, Buddha gave me 9 holy grails. If the next 9 bullets all jam, I will leave. If not, that's God's will. It's divine punishment for your manipulation of people's lives. Lin Luha succumbed to just 3 bullets. GuilinChen was the instrument of divine punishment. After Lin Luha's death, GuilinChen turned to leave, but he was halted midway by the sound of the resuming choir hymns. He returned, incredulously gazing at the followers, feeling a mix of surprise, confusion, indignation, and amusement. The brainwasher was gone, but the followers' self-brainwashing continued unabated. Fools can be salvaged, but self-fooling ones are beyond redemption. GuilinChen gave them a minute to decide. Those who chose to stay would be mercilessly killed. Many left, but many chose to stay. Faced with these delusional and stubborn individuals, all he could do was send them to hell, lest they become the next revered ones. The slaughter began. Some, shaken by the miracle of the jamming bullets, abandoned their faith. But more people, like soul-sucked puppets, numbly accepted death. GuilinChen calmly reloaded his gun, feeling no psychological burden. These people were not innocent. Not long ago, they were complicit in forcing a mother to death. Finally, only the elder sister remained. She continued singing the religious hymn, smiling with composed normalcy. GuilinChen sent her off, emotionless. Blood splattered on the revered leader's portrait, carrying an aura of wickedness and sin. Looking at the dead bodies scattered around, GuilinChen finally understood what greed was. When a person desires far more than they deserve, that is greed. These people were fooled not only because they were foolish, but also because they were greedy. Killing them was killing his own greedy self. After eliminating the 2 evils, the last one remained, himself. GuilinChen decided to turn himself in. In GuilinChen's mind, he should be in the spotlight, surrounded by a cheering crowd, like a triumphant hero. He raised his handcuffed hands, shouting his name to the reporters. He thought he had finally achieved the fame he had always craved, but fate played a joke on him once more. Zhang Guilinchen told him, "You don't have cancer."
Ido.
I lied so you might do something good before I die by turning yourself in. Yet, GuilinChen accepted all this with equanimity, aware that death was inevitable. His vacuous fame and deluded pride would dissipate with his demise. GuilinChen's obsession was over. The light of conscience was beginning to shine. He realized how laughable his former obsessions were. He finally woke up to how much his anger and greed had hurt people. The fame that had once occupied his mind was entirely worthless. On the other hand, Xiao Mei, whom he had saved, always remembered his kindness. Upon learning that he was going to prison, she vowed to give him another shave. Even though he didn't say a word, GuilinChen was on the verge of tears. To receive such an affectionate gesture at the end of his life was comfort enough for him.
Xiao Mei mended GuilinChen's cherished tooth.
GuilinChen gave her his beloved piggy watch. Thus, he had no more regrets. With the three evils eliminated and personal demons banished, GuilinChen had achieved his redemption, and death was no longer frightening. Prior to the execution, he left a final testament.
我对不起大家，对不起社会，对不起。
GuilinChen calmly finished his last meal before being escorted to the execution site. The Pig, the Snake, and the Pigeon was a film released in 2024. On the surface, it seemed to tell the story of a gangster assassin. However, the film reflected the greed, anger, and ignorance lying within every ordinary person, our inner demons. Just like the societal truths revealed in The Great Buddha Plus, all beings suffer, unknowingly controlled by their desires. The Buddha cannot save people, only they can save themselves. The other side of the revered ones might just be the devil. The ignorance of all beings is partly instigated by others, and partly due to their overpowering private desires. What GuilinChen really wanted to eliminate might have been the greed, anger, and ignorance deeply rooted in the darkness of human nature.